cleaned all the filters out before I went on holiday, and we've just been to Devon for 10 days. Come back and the media in the Tempest filters seems to be clogged. I thought it'd be okay to run the filters for 10 days. Somebody's been going around and feeding the fish, but obviously not. I'll just open the valves and show you what I mean. Just open the valves, and as you can see, there's no bubbles coming out. Open these two taps at the bottom. The media's dropping, and there's no bubbles coming out to break up the media. I've got a feeling that it's took that much debris out of the system that the media's completely blocked up, but that doesn't explain why the bubbles aren't coming out. It's just draining. So I'm going to get the hose pipe and try and blast these blast the media from the top and see if I can free any of the debris that's been caught up in it. I'll just shut these valves before I blast it, and so that hopefully it'll start filling up with water and it'll start aerating the media and releasing the sediment that's been caught in it. That's the hose pipe turned on. I'll go up and give them a blast. Just remove these caps at the top, and then I can get the hose, the end of the hose pointed into the Tempest. Same at the other side. The filter's now beginning to fill with water, and it looks like it's loosening the media, but that wasn't the main problem. The main problem was no bubbles coming from the pipes at the bottom. I have tried to blast them out, so we'll fill it now and see what happens. There's an awful lot of muck being churned out of this, and that's what the filters have took out of the pond in 10 days while we've been away on holiday. But if you notice, it's only churning it's releasing more now, but there is about 4 inches of media at the bottom that it's not getting to. I'm putting the caps back on both the filters, and we'll open the taps and see what happens now. The drain unblocking pipe that I've used has released all the media, so it's now floating, but look at there's about 3 or 4 inches sediment at the bottom. So I'll open the pipes now and see if the bubbles come out, and hopefully it should. I'll repeat this process a few times and it should be back to normal. I've opened the valve, the media is dropping, it's draining out the dirty water, but there's no bubbles still. I'm going to keep doing this. I'll keep refilling them with the hose pipe and releasing the water, and just see if I do this a few times, it might get it working back to normal. Filling it up for a second time, but at least this time all the media does seem to be floating. But I'll still give it a swirl round with the plunging stick. once it's full and drain it again. I'm just going to put the hose over the end of this pipe where the bubbles come from and give it a blast in case that's got blocked. I'll do this at both sides. That's the valves opening for a second time, still no bubbles. I'll keep repeating this. I'll do it half a dozen times, see how it goes. And that's all the filters done. I'll give it one more go. If there's still no aeration coming from the bottom pipe, I'm going to have to ask for your advice and help. Not got a clue. I've even took these valves off to make sure that they're on the right way around. And they're on so that the air can get in, but water can't get out. So they're correct. Right, I'll open the valves, see what happens. Absolutely no change. It's letting the water out, but absolutely no bubbles or aeration. There's just a little bit of aeration as it's completely emptying. Just took the filter floss from the top of the backy showers. I'll give that a blast. And a rinse out in a bucket of pond water. The Tempests are now clean. I've emptied them and refilled them 6 times. The media's clean that's in them, but there's still no bubbles. I'll give these a rinse, clean the other filters out, and then we'll fill them. But that's the filter floss going back on top of the backy shower. As you can see, the media's pretty clean now. I really don't know why the valves at the bottom aren't bubbling when I release them. It wouldn't have been audible on the earlier part of the video, but when the slide valves are closed and I opened the tap at the bottom of the Tempest, I heard a slight intake of air from either one or both of these valves. So I think what's happening is there needs to be a vacuum in the Tempest, and because there must be a slight leak in these valves, there isn't a vacuum, so the bubbles won't start rising because the Tempest will just empty because of the leak. Now, given that these have only been installed for just over 12 months, I'm not going to... The other alternative is start taking it apart with all these nuts and bolts and inserting new gaskets inside and what have you, but because it's only so slight, what I'm going to do is put an air line on the bottom of each one. So what we're going to do is run an air line from this pump round the back of the filter pit doors, through the shrubs, along the back of the fence, and connect it to the Tempest. And I'll put a valve on so that when the valves turn one way, the air line will supply the Tempest. When that's turned off and the other's turned on, the air line will supply the air stones in the pond. Right, just slid the mesh tray out of the sieve filter. I'll slide that into the garden waste bin and give the pressure filters a clean, and then we're back up and running. I'm going to have to run the Tempest as they are for now. Any comments and advice much appreciated. So what we've got to do the job is 15 metres of air line, which isn't compatible with the valve that fits onto the bottom of the Tempest. So what I'm going to do is cut a couple of inches or an inch or two at each side of this. That pushes onto the Tempest, and then I've ordered an 8mm to 4mm conversion, so that when that comes, that'll fit onto there. But I'm still awaiting that to come in the post. And we've got a couple of valve on and off taps and some 3-way connectors. So when that comes, the 8mm 4mm adapter, I'll do the updated video. So that's it for today. We've exhausted all our options until the parts come that I've ordered online. But the next video will be showing us attaching the air lines to the Tempest filters and how good a job they'll do at bubbling up all the media, and then we can drain them, and that should solve the problem. If you're enjoying the videos, please like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and thanks for watching Pomfret's Pond.